If you're not watching Invincible right now, you're genuinely missing out because it's like the most peak animated show going on right now. Especially after JJK have ended and we don't know when like the second episode of Steel Ball Run is coming out. Invincible is definitely the most peak show going on right now. Again, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched episode 5, go ahead and watch it. That being said, originally I was gonna make a video every week on Invincible episode. Last week was like a filler episode, more like a show canon. And yeah, the episode wasn't anything special. It was pretty decent. What I liked about episode 4 was like Mark was like a little bit like season 1 Mark, you know, making jokes and not being fucking depressed all the time. Let's talk about episode 5, the real stuff here. There are some changes in episode 5 of Invincible compared to like comics. So what we see in episode 5 is that, you know, Nolan is here and he's like, Mark, it's time, let's go, it's time to fight in the war, the war against Viltrumites. And Mark is like, sure, I don't really have a choice. We also see some like emotional stuff in here when Omni-Man tries to apologize to Debbie, and her reaction is actually different compared to comic. Like Debbie in general is getting more attention compared to comic. Like, even Paul is getting more attention compared to comics because I generally didn't remember Paul doing anything. Like he's getting way more screen time in the show, and Debbie is also like more of a character than what she's in the comic. So her response to Omni-Man apologizing and stuff is also different from the comic. I wonder if they want to take her character a different path compared to the comics, because I wouldn't be surprised. The show is making significant changes compared to the comics. Another change they made was Tech Jacket. We actually did saw Tech Jacket for one scene last year in the 7th episode of season 3 when all the Invincible came in. Tech Jacket actually killed one of the Invincible. She's like also being recruited for the Viltrumite war, and yeah, the change is there that it's a she. The comic Tech Jacket is a guy, in the show she's a girl, which doesn't really make like much of a difference. I don't really care about that. I generally didn't give a fuck about Tech Jacket in the comics, so it's not the first time they did it. One of the girls from the Guardians, you know, from season 1, she's a girl in the show, but it's a male character in the comics, so not the first time the show did a gender swap. But like I was saying, this episode also had like emotional stuff instead of just action, and we see like Omni-Man is going through it. He's actually realizing like his fucking actions have consequences. His wife literally threw him out. She's literally like, I don't want to do anything with you, get the fuck out of my house, I hate you, get the fuck out. Debbie hates him. His best friend is scared of him. He literally said, I'm not gonna make any clothes for you, I only make clothes for the hero. Ever since he killed all those people in the show in Chicago and stuff, he just ran away from all the consequences. But now in this episode he's actually facing consequences. No one likes him except for like Alan. Like everyone hates him, everyone is scared of him. It's actually good to see because it actually contributes to Omni-Man as a character. Yeah, speaking of Debbie and Tech Jacket, I also have to talk about something from comic, but it's comic spoiler, so that's gonna be at the end at the comic spoiler section. Let's talk about the action in this episode. So Conquest came back and we see Mark and Conquest again, and it wasn't like a long fight like the last season. It was more like just Mark like grabbing him and them just going fucking around the planet. Mark is just choking him and like Conquest is like trying his best to punch him away, but Mark just not leaving him. And the animation was actually good in this episode. Like the only one thing I feel like Invincible needs to work on is like hand-to-hand combat. We don't really see much considering majority of the characters in Invincible fight physically. I would love if they like work more on hand-to-hand combat instead of just flying at full speed punch. And Mark actually kills Conquest in this episode. There are some lines which are cut from the comics because I remember those lines when Conquest told Omni-Man, oh Nolan, your son is strong, almost as strong as you. And it's like that line was gone. Nolan and Conquest in general didn't have much conversation. They're like, oh, get away from my son. And Conquest like, oh, I get to kill you too, haha, I'm so lucky. And it's like we also get a call back to season 1 when like Conquest grabs Oliver's head and Oliver's like punching Conquest at like high speed, which is very similar to how Omni-Man killed Red Rush in episode 1 of season 1 when he just grabs Red Rush head and Red Rush is like punching Omni-Man at high speed and Omni-Man just squishes his head. I don't know if it's a callback or coincidence, but it was very similar to what happened in the season 1 episode 1. Also, like the voice acting was like really fucking good in this show. Voice acting is not something I praise Invincible for, but in this episode the voice acting was actually good. When like Mark is choking Conquest like just stabs Mark and he's like pulling his insides out, and it's like Mark actually sounds like he's like in pain and shit. So like the voice acting was really good. The voice actor did a really good job. In general, the voice acting has always been good in Invincible. I just really like Mark performance. But yeah, overall this episode was definitely the best episode to come out of this season. Like I don't think there was anything this episode was weak at. The emotional stuff was good, the action was good, voice acting and like everything was good in this episode. But yeah, there are two things I need to talk about. Show only, you can leave. So yeah, comic stuff. You know, Debbie, I think Debbie might not end up with Omni-Man in the show because her reaction is like very different. Debbie is a completely different character. She's getting more attention. Even Paul is getting more attention. I generally don't remember Paul getting any attention in the comic, and then him and Debbie's relationship in general is getting good amount of attention. It will be a pretty big change compared to comic. I still think she will end up with Omni-Man again, just like the comics, but I can also see if she doesn't end up. Omni-Man and Debbie getting together is not gonna impact the plot in a huge fucking way. So Debbie's getting fleshed out as a character a lot in the show compared to the comics. And also other thing I want to talk about, it's pretty funny. You know, they made Tech Jacket a girl. And in the episode, we see Oliver in Tech Jacket. I think her name is Zoe now. They're like, hey, how are you? And it's like, and I saw some people talking about it. What if they made Tech Jacket a female so that she can be love interest for Oliver, so that they don't have to eventually fucking make Oliver's lobster wife. You know, Oliver later down the comic gets fucking a lobster wife. We will find out next episode if Oliver's gonna get a lobster wife or not. Oliver does tell Omni-Man that he likes lobster during the Mark healing time. Like, you know, when Mark gets stabbed by a Conquest and he's healing, that's next episode when Omni-Man and Oliver will get some father and son time. And that's when Oliver tells, you know, Mom made a lobster and I kind of find it interesting. And he was like, sure, I know, a lobster girl for you. Again, I can see them not adapting lobster wife to the show. Also, another change they made from comic is I'm pretty sure in the comic Omni-Man does come to see Oliver. Like in the show, you know, Oliver is way more rude to Omni-Man. He's like, oh, he didn't even came to see me. Fuck that. I hate that. But in the comic, I'm pretty sure Omni-Man actually meets Oliver on the Earth. Again, the things are very different from the comic, so I feel like a lot of things in the future is gonna change. Anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about episode 5 of Invincible. But yeah, see ya.